All right, today we're tackling a modern business classic that has sold millions and millions of copies for one very simple reason. It gets right to the heart of a problem that I guarantee almost every single one of us has experienced at work.
Welcome back to Ben's Book Club. Today, we are diving into the book, The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. We're going to break down the core model from Lencioni's masterpiece, a framework that finally gives a name to that frustration we've all felt when a team full of smart, talented people just doesn't work.
I mean, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? You can have a team packed with A players, you can have all the money in the world and a fantastic product, but somehow they still manage to fail. Well, Lencioni argues the reason is rarely about talent or strategy. It's about something much more human. Now, to get this idea across, Lencioni does something really brilliant. He doesn't just give us some dry textbook. Instead, he writes a leadership fable, a story that makes all these dysfunctions feel incredibly real and relatable. He introduces us to Decision Tech, this fictional tech firm that on paper has an executive team that should be absolutely dominating their market. But behind the scenes, it's a complete mess. Their meetings are just painful, office politics are everywhere, and everybody is just protecting their own turf. It's a disaster. So in comes the new CEO, Catherine, and she diagnoses the problem using a simple but honestly an unbelievably powerful model that shows exactly where the team is broken. And here it is, the pyramid of dysfunction. Now, the key thing Lencioni says is that these 5 issues are stacked. Each one rests on the one below it. So you can't fix a lack of commitment if you haven't first dealt with the fear of conflict. And none of it works if you don't start at the absolute foundation. Everything starts right here. If this bottom layer cracks and crumbles, the entire structure is just, well, it's going to fall apart. But Lencioni isn't talking about just any kind of trust. He's focused on something much, much deeper. It's what he calls vulnerability-based trust. This isn't just about believing your coworker is going to get their report in on time. No. It's the belief that you can be completely human, you can admit you messed up, you can say, I don't know, or ask for help, without any fear that it's going to be used against you. This slide really clarifies the difference, right? On one hand, you have predictive trust, which is all about reliability and competence, and that's necessary, for sure. But on the other, you have vulnerability-based trust, and that's all about psychological safety. It's the true bedrock of a cohesive team, and if you don't have it, a really dangerous domino effect starts to happen. So when that foundational trust is missing, it triggers a chain reaction that leads directly into the second dysfunction. Without trust, team members just can't have unfiltered, passionate debates about ideas. Instead, you get what Lencioni calls artificial harmony. And we've all seen this. Everyone's nodding politely in the meeting, but the real conversations, the complaining and the gossiping, that all happens in the hallways afterward. And that leads right to the next dysfunction. If people haven't been able to weigh in and have their ideas really debated, they won't truly buy into the final decision. They might nod along just to end the meeting, but they haven't actually committed. And this creates this fog of ambiguity, leaving the team without any clear path forward, and it just kills all momentum. This follows logically, right? If nobody has truly committed to a clear plan, then how can they possibly hold each other accountable? Team members get really hesitant to call out their peers on behaviors that are dragging the team down. So, standards drop, resentment starts to build, and the leader becomes the only source of discipline. And finally, we get to the very top of the pyramid. When all the other dysfunctions are in play, team members start prioritizing their own needs, their ego, their career, maybe the status of their department, way above the collective goals of the team. The whole focus shifts from we win to I need to look good. So, after climbing this pyramid of dysfunction, what's the big takeaway? Well, Lencioni's conclusion is both incredibly simple and really profound. Lencioni's main point is this. In a world where your competitors can copy your strategy or your technology, the one thing that's nearly impossible to replicate is a high-functioning, cohesive team. That is the ultimate, sustainable competitive advantage. Which leaves us with this final thought. Overcoming these dysfunctions requires having tough conversations, being vulnerable, and holding people accountable. All of that is uncomfortable. So maybe the root of all 5 of these dysfunctions is just our very human tendency to avoid discomfort. What do you think?
Subscribe so you don't miss an episode.